So we're gonna just maybe dispel some myths about STEM careers, because I mean, we talked earlier, and it was actually one that I had, or maybe just a perception of what I think about when I think about engineering and STEM careers. And one of the things that I thought was that you needed all A's. You know, you have to make all A's in like math and science if you want to pursue a career in engineering or whatever. So can we just maybe talk about maybe dispelling some myths or kind of sweeping some obstacles out the door, and just some things that might be perhaps roadblocks for people where they might think, you know what, I'm not STEM material, or a career in engineering is not for me, because I sort of kind of thought that, like, you know, a career in engineering, that's not for me, I'm not smart enough or whatever. So could we maybe dispel just some of the myths that children or people, young people might have about a career in STEM? So we'll start with you.
Sure. For one thing is, to work at a tech company, you don't have to be an engineer. You'll hear from my friend Marlo Simon when she comes up here. She works in the finance department.
That's a great
She runs
point.
payroll. Everybody loves her because she makes sure we get paid.
She makes sure they get paid.
And you know, there's marketing positions. There's positions in analytics. There's all different philanthropy. There's all different types of positions in tech companies. It's engineering, and a rocket scientist is not the only way to get into a tech company.
Okay.
And the other thing is, you can learn coding and engineering at any point in your life. I'm learning it now. You know, as I created the website for girlsstemstars.org, I'm literally yesterday, I'm like, look at me. I'm coding. Wow, you know. And if I can do it, trust me, anybody can do it. You know, you don't have to have, you know, top grades from a top school. You know, you can go to a community college and learn and come into a tech company. It is possible.
Okay, that's great, because I'm sure that helped, or that freed some people, perhaps like me, that were thinking you have to be an engineer, you have to be like super duper like A student kind of material to work at a tech company. So we'll go
Sure. And I totally agree with that. I started a group on campus called Space Broncos, and it was a group that specifically worked with NASA projects. And we had majors from all over campus, not just science and engineering. We had theater majors, we had English majors, we had business majors. So definitely, you know, it goes through all the levels of the different places you might want to be. And then my encouragement, especially for kids in high school, you know, if you struggle with math, that's something to overcome, and you can overcome it.
Okay.
I struggled with math. I struggled with learning algebra. I struggled with learning decimals. But once it clicked, and then once I had an application. So my very first science class was called, it was Idaho Science and Aerospace Scholars. It's a NASA program. And I thought I hated science. But I got into this class, and they taught me the applications of science and math to space science, and to learning about the orbits, and to be able to calculate things. And all of a sudden, it started clicking. I had that application to be working with.
That's a great point. So I don't want people to like miss that point that Camille said, and she talked about how she struggled with math, but she overcame that when she saw the application of how math and science work together for something that you were interested in, and that was space.
Going to space.
And it was the application of it. She applied it to what she was interested in, and she overcame her difficulty in that subject or in that area. So that's an encouragement to anybody that might struggle in math or science or whatever, that apply it to something that you're interested in, and it'll click. That's a great point.
And part of it is fear too. You gotta overcome that fear, and not be afraid of not knowing something, and having to persevere through it. And from that, you apply to your college education. And then when those roadblocks come up, you don't give up. You don't stop. You just work through it like you learned.
Awesome, thank you.
And I think too, to add to that, I think we're so accustomed to a traditional learning style,
Right.
And sometimes, especially with underserved groups, it doesn't call for traditional learning styles.
Right.
You have to learn what's of interest to them to be able to apply it. So the teaching style matters. Right?
Absolutely.
And so a lot of what we're looking at these days is what we would call disruptive learning.
Okay.
And so there's lots of different learning tools. And so I think that a responsibility of the parent is to understand your student's learning style.
Got it.
And get them in the right school program, tutoring program, or even camp in order to support that.
So that's a great point that you bring up, is so we as parents should figure out what our child's best learning style is, and then make sure that they're in programs that foster that, and that would be the best learning situation for them. So that's actually a learning point for us parents. So we're going to actually just take a quick break, and we're going to bring another guest to the panel, so just hold tight. We're back, and I'm so excited because we actually have one of the campers, Alexis, here. And Alexis is a part of the STEM Stars Summer Camp. And Alexis, we want to know, what is your favorite part of the camp?
My favorite part of the camp would probably have to be how every week we get to learn a new activity, like a part of STEM.
Yeah,
That's really
She's one of my star students. I'm really proud of her.
Star student.
Yes, she is.
That's
You're
great.
welcome, honey.
And so you get to learn a new STEM activity at each one of the sessions.
Yeah.
So what was maybe the first activity that you did?
The first activity we did, we learned like an aeronautics class. We were flying paper planes.
Awesome.
They got to meet the Guinness World Book Record of paper airplane flying, Mr. John Collins.
So did you hear that?
He taught a class on aeronautics.
Okay.
And for 45 minutes, and then after that, he taught them how to make his winning paper airplane. And interestingly enough, a lot of kids had never made an airplane before, paper airplane before. So that was really fun. And they got to play
I know
for
how to
half
make
an
the
hour,
award-winning one myself.
I didn't go as far, I really
Wow.
don't. But there's a lot of technique to it, and there's a lot of kind of math and geometry. There was a lot of geometry. A lot.
Great. How interesting. I cannot believe a lot of kids have not made a paper airplane. We used to do that in school.
I know,
just
right?
like shoot it across the classroom.
Or
at,
the teacher.
Right. So that's unbelievable that there's kids that have never made a paper airplane. So here we go. They do fun stuff at STEM camps. Now, Alexis, do you have anything that you want to ask any of the panel members? These are wonderful ladies that have STEM careers, and is there anything that you want to know as far as education or career? Feel free to ask up.
Just like in general, like how did you get started with STEM? Like how did you first hear about it?
Oh, okay. So when I was 12, I decided that, I wanted to be an engineer. And so my mom was really encouraging me to go and how to get started. So I did a STEM camp. Lots of we did a whole lot of events. In fact, we were on the college campus and we slept over and got to sleep in the dorms and then also talk to professors.
Fun.
Very
Sleep
cool.
away.
Yeah, it was really fun. And we did things like we built aquifers. So aquifers are, where you get the fresh water from the ground. And so we built aquifers out of food. And we got to eat it afterwards. And then we did things like tie-dye cartography. We had someone from Micron who was a chemist come and do some really cool hands-on experiments with us. And that was really cool, and that kind of started pushing me to explore all the different careers and stuff.
Awesome. That's
Yep.
great.
That is awesome.
Okay, and is there anything that you just want to say to Alexis? Just
I say
encouragement?
one, power to you, girl. Keep it going. And great for you because you're the one that ignited this passion right here. So
Absolutely.
But
I'm
it takes
excited.
her to, and her parents and her guardians
Yeah.
to, one, bring her here. And, she's not out there skipping rope and playing with her friends at summer vacation. She's actually investing in her future. And her parent is investing in her future in STEM education. So it's her that's, she wants to come back, because these kids don't have to come back. The parents would drag them here 1 week, but they want to come back. Literally, her and a few of the other girls, we had to drag them from the computers last week, from the JavaScript class. They absolutely loved it. And you talked about innovation in teaching the kids.
Yes.
This man came in and said, we're going to learn JavaScript through comic books. And we're like, what?
Wow.
You know, so
That's
look at her, that smile. And this is what I live for. Boom.
Yeah.
Those little bright eyes, and their minds are blown,
Yeah.
and, you know, they're hooked.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Well, I'm so excited. Thank you so much for joining our panel. And you hear that, parents, all you got to do is bring them. And these wonderful ladies, people like these ladies we have on the panel, they will do the rest. The only thing you need to do is just get them here. So thank you.
One other thing,
One other thing.
you will have a job waiting for you.
Oh, yes.
You will not be
Oh, yes,
I can promise
exactly.
you that.
You know, I brought in Myesha. She's a NASA rocket scientist, and black woman, and she was very factual and said, I make over $100,000. This is the house that I live in. She did a wonderful presentation for the girls' STEM class. You know, this is my life. I went to China. I went here. I went there. And the girls are like, oh, wow. And you're a rocket scientist? You know, so it's actually also showing this is how STEM has improved my life as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. So thank you again, and enjoy the rest of the camp, and enjoy the rest of your summer.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alexis.
Thank you for hanging in there with us. I'm so excited. We have another esteemed guest that has joined our panel, and he is actually one of the presenters today at the summer STEM camp. So I'm going to let him introduce himself. I don't want to mess up anybody's credentials. I cannot do it justice, so you have the floor.
My name is Julius Pryor III. I always like to tell people I'm Julius Pryor III because there is a Julius Pryor IV. My oldest son, we're going to see how long we can keep that name going. I told him I'm not quite ready to be a grandfather yet, but we'll see. So I'm the head of Innovation, Diversity, and Inclusion at Genentech. Genentech is the premier biotech company in the world. We're basically the company that created the biotechnology industry. We were the first publicly traded biotech company, and we're a leading edge company that's creating some of the top medicines in the world to really try to fight some of the toughest diseases in the world, especially oncology, cancer, immunology, virology. So we're doing quite a bit, and to do the things that we're trying to do requires a lot of very unique thinkers, and that means we need a diversity of people in our company. We need a diversity of different ways of thinking about things, and we need to be sure that we've got collaborative teams that can work very well together. So we're doing quite a bit at Genentech to ensure that we're able to continue to think in the right way to develop these really unique medicines that we are creating.
Okay. And in terms of recruitment, how exactly do you recruit people to Genentech? Because a lot of people may not even be aware of what you guys do. Like, do you partner with colleges or in universities, or how do you bring the workforce in that you need to do those specialized jobs? And just bringing them in, how do you retain that workforce?
Yeah, well, think about what a company like Genentech does. The heart and soul of our organization, of our enterprise, is research and development. And again, it goes back to how we think about developing the unique and cutting-edge medicines that we create. So that requires people with specific kinds of backgrounds, specific kinds of degrees, usually people with PhDs, MDs, who are steeped and understand how to do that kind of research. Now, at the same time, we're a big enterprise, and so we have a number of disciplines in the company. And we're trying to be sure that we have a very professional and in-depth staffing team that goes out and develops relationships with colleges and universities, and we also are looking at people who have the right kinds of research backgrounds. And so we are developing and have developed relationships with some of the top colleges and universities in the world. But in particular, we're trying to place a lot of emphasis on on places that may be connected to people who are sometimes underutilized or underrepresented. So we developed strong relationships with some HBCUs, historically black colleges and universities. And in fact, we have a strong internship program this summer, and we have students represented in the internship program from Morehouse College, from Spelman College, from Hampton University, and we're going to be bringing some additional interns in the next time around. We're adding Howard to the mix. And we're also looking at colleges and universities that have a particular connection to the Hispanic Latino community, so that we can be sure that we're pulling those students in, and we want to be sure that we continue our outreach with the Asian American population. And we're connected to a number of different universities and organizations that are connected to those communities. So we work with organizations like SACNAS, which focuses on Native Americans and Hispanics. We are connected to other organizations that do that kind of work in underrepresented communities with people of color.
That's great. That's so exciting to hear that you guys are making these targeted efforts to bring diversity into Genentech, because that's something that we actually, the panel we talked about earlier, how do you purposely go out and bring in diversity? And that's one of the things Leslie brought up, is partnering with HBCUs, and then you mentioned some things that you guys are doing as far as
Partnering with community colleges like Kenyatta.
Yes, yes. So it's great to hear that you guys are doing that. So I'm excited. I'm excited about what the future holds for STEM and the diversity and the innovation that will come out of that, because you have different people working together for a cause. So thank you for joining our panel. We just kind of...
Well, there's one other thing I wanted to tell you. And
yes.
Absolutely. We have a number of internal groups that are employee resource groups. We refer to them as DNA groups.
Yes.
It's a take on the DNA that is very important in the kind of research we do, the deoxyribonucleic acid, but we call them diversity network associations. So we've got 11 different DNA groups within the company, and all of these groups represent various, not only demographic and ethnic groups, but also generational groups and people with physical disabilities, the LGBT community, so and women. So we're doing a lot in terms of being sure that we're connected internally to our employees too.
That's great. That's great. That's awesome that they not only recruit, but they purposely create situations where people feel included and they have community. And I love that. Makes me want to like come and work with you guys.
It's also the volunteerism that they have within their company as well. When I reached out to Julius, he said, I'm bringing my team, not just myself. I asked him to speak and give some words of inspiration to the summer STEM campers. And he said, I'm bringing my team. We're bringing swag. We'll bring a presentation. And I'm like, this is fantastic. So his team has an opportunity to come out and volunteer. And, you know, it's tech companies like Genentech, like HP, like Rocket Fuel. Like I said, it takes a village of tech communities, tech companies, to lift these kids up, give a hand and lift up. Not out, but up.
Absolutely. And I like that. I like what she said, a hand up, not a hand out, but a hand up.
So thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right, I am so grateful and honored to have the two of you gentlemen supporting our summer STEM camp. Mr. Ronnie Lott, the 49ers Super Bowl fantastic athlete and also entrepreneur, and also amazing founder of All Stars Helping Kids, which is helping a lot of kids around the Bay Area. And also Mr. Julius Pryor is the lead of innovation, diversity, and inclusion at Genentech, one of the largest biotech companies in the globe.
Can I be him?
I think he feels the same about you. And tell me, what was it like for you to come to a summer camp? This was a free camp for 50 Black and Latino kids. And what was that experience like for you?
Well, to me, I think one of the fascinating things is that you're always trying to figure out how you're going to be able to give information and let information be such that these kids are able to comprehend it and hold on to it. Mm-hmm. That's the hardest part. is that most kids don't necessarily want to listen. And so today was a day where we were trying to at least get that message across. But more importantly, the fact that they were, excited. And to have a girl from the islands, to me, that was the best. That was the best moment of
All
it
the
all.
way from Africa.
Yeah, because one of the great things is that you get to learn from her, and her peace and her calmness taught us a lot today about
Confidence as well about her country.
It was
That was
incredible,
fantastic.
and talking about the culture and the people. So I got a lesson today
Good
of
for you.
life.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Julius?
It's always great to connect with younger people because it not only reinvigorates you, but it's great to simply see how they're engaged. It's great to see how they think. And it's also a reminder that we're in a very diverse world today.
Yes.
They not only are representative of different ethnicities and races and perspectives, but they're from all over. And they're so bright. They're so enthusiastic. They're so positive.
Yes.
It reminds us all of why we do what we do, of why companies like Genentech do the things they do, of great role models like Ronnie Lott and you, Kioba, who are out there every day, giving them someone to look up to so that they can see that you can go as far as your dreams take you. So this was just awe-inspiring and very uplifting for me. And it's always good to connect with kids like this because they are literally the future.
They really are, and it's an honor to be able to expose them to science, technology, engineering, and math in creative ways. They've been taking aeronautics classes, they've got robotics classes, they've got tinkering. We've got the co-founder of Maker Faire coming and doing a class with them. So it's been fun. Quite frankly, these kids are a blast, and I'm having a wonderful time. So, gentlemen, thank you for taking your time and investing in the education and the future of these youth of color. God bless you both.
It's a privilege.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in for another episode of Real Talk with Terry for our STEM education special. We'll put resources up at the end of this recording so that you can learn more about the companies that were represented and the STEM camps that were represented so that you can find out how to get your child involved. And remember, yesterday is history, tomorrow a mystery. Today is a gift, which is why we call it the present. Thank you, and God bless.
So I'm free from crying, free from my depression. Put my faith inside your love. Now I'm reaching for my blessing. 'Cause he died and he rose. He's alive, this I know. I'm crossing over, I crossed over. I put the crossover over everything. So I'm free from crying, free from my depression. Put my faith inside your love. Now I'm reaching for my blessing. I'm crossing over, I crossed over. I put the crossover over everything.